We talk all things mom, boss, and growing our businesses. Welcome to BizMomCoaching, the #1 channel where the real heroines, moms in business, support you through their journeys to help build your business. Here you will see that you are not alone in your business journey. Moms often have the exact same struggles, and we are here to support you. Subscribe and join our mom business community. We would love to network with you. Remember to watch until the end, when I will share how you can access the most effective ways to structure your online business to grow faster and have more time. Exactly what all us mom bosses yearn for. Let's get started. So welcome to BizMomCoaching. Today I'm interviewing Tanya Meessmann, and she's the owner of Girl-Shaped Flames, and she is all about inner fire, empowerment and confidence that she knows exists in each and every young woman, especially teenage girls. She empowers these young women to discover their own unique potential and strength by becoming more confident so that they can reach their dreams and full potential. But not only is her business model extremely encouraging and motivational, but we can learn a lot about her business offers and how she does business as a mom. So welcome, Tanya. Wow, I'm inspired by what you do and love the theme of fire around which your business is built. So please tell us more. How did Girl-Shaped Flames come about? What moved you to embark on this business journey?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I tell you what, it was an unexpected journey. I've had 2 different careers, and predominantly my life was spent as a freelance worker. So I would get hired on a job by job basis or a client basis. And one of those careers was in advertising and branding, working for big ad agencies and things like that. So salaried positions or freelance on a day rate. And then I worked as a film producer for the better part of about 12 years. And so when I was on the production side of things, it was again freelancing, short and sharp little contracts and things like that. So you're constantly trying to sort of find where the next job is going to come from. But then it's also very clear when you do get hired, this is how much you get paid and all the rest of it. So I had worked for lots of different sizes of companies, including 1-person, 2-person companies, all the way up to 500, 600 people. And I had always sworn that I would never start my own business. I always said, that looks totally not like what I would want to do. It looks very stressful. There's lots of responsibility. There's lots of things that I'm a project person. I like to get in, do a project, do it well, get paid, get back out again. So Girl-Shaped Flames really came upon me in a very unexpected way. And to be honest, the way I tell the story is honestly that I didn't really realize I was starting a business when I did it. I was on maternity. I was headed towards maternity leave. I was pregnant, 4 months pregnant with my second son, when I was reflecting one day on what the future was going to hold after maternity leave and whether I was going to go back to that business or not. I was working as head of brand and communications at a set of high schools here in Queensland. And I was reflecting on my future there, but then I was also simultaneously reflecting on a number of the younger girls that were working either for me or had worked for me that I had been informally mentoring and coaching, along with a lot of the conversations I'd had with parents and students over my year at the schools that I was working at. And I was just having a moment where I was just thinking, I'm so worried about these girls. I'm worried because they are smart and they are determined and they have great work ethic often. And they're just lacking this belief in themselves and this confidence and this risk-taking appetite. And with the younger girls in high school, I was watching apathy and watching sort of, they're not really very nonchalant about life and getting quite passive with, social media and technology and things. And I was sitting there going like, this just can't be. I've lived an enormous, exciting, fulfilling, great life that I'm so proud of. And I did that because I had a confidence and a courage inside me that let me say yes to opportunities and chase goals and experiences. And I really want that for these young women who are working for me, but also for the younger girls who are developing their personalities and their skills and abilities. So really, I launched Girl-Shaped Flames, I guess, just with a set of events. And I thought to myself, I'm just going to run these events. And I'd done my little spreadsheet of like money in, money out. And I was like, this is great. I'm going to nail all these events. I'm going to make like my year's salary in the space of 3 months. And I'll just sit back and enjoy my maternity leave, having made my salary off these events and make the world a better place at the same time. Won't that be great? And needless to say, that's not entirely how it worked out. But it was the kernel, the starting point of what became Girl Shaped Flames, essentially, and has gone on to continue to be an events-based business predominantly.
Okay. Wow, that's incredible. And I love how a business like this, can start out of something so organically, because your business is really such an impactful business. So how does it make you feel that your business has such impact and serves such a big purpose, because you're literally changing people's futures?
It's taken me a long time to recognize that. I think, to be honest, I started from a place of, this is important, and I really feel like I am in a position that I could help. What it was, I know what it was. It wasn't that I sat there thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to influence all these lives and blah, blah, blah. It was more, I'm a really good facilitator. I'm a really good doer. I'm great at that project management. I can make things happen. And what I could see was important was that we needed to be getting more strong, positive female influencers in front of girls. And we needed to be connecting them in some way, because girls were just living on, passive social media, seeing all their role models there. They weren't getting in person with them and being able to ask them questions and hear their advice and all those things. So I thought to myself, that's how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to shift the dial, is we are going to connect. And from the very beginning, Girl Shaped Flames has been about connecting extraordinary women with teenage girls through experiences and events and mentoring and stuff. And I thought, that's what I'm going to do. And so if I can get all these amazing women that I know, and I can get them in a room with all these fantastic girls with all this potential, magic will happen. So for a long time, it wasn't about me personally affecting anyone's lives. It was just, I'm facilitating some events that are going to affect some people's lives. How it's evolved over the years is that I have ended up becoming far, far more intricately involved with the girls themselves, running workshops, teaching confidence, giving keynotes, visiting schools, one-on-one coaching and mentoring. We host a camp once a year here for 40 girls with myself and one of my closest friends, Kai. And it became apparent that actually I could be the one doing the coaching and the mentoring and making the difference. And I happen to have one of those voices, not just pitch and tone, but those, what I say and the way I say it happens to resonate with young girls, and they do trust it, and they trust that I'm not trying to, manipulate them or boss them or anything. They trust that I'm coming to them with a place of respect and a place of maturity that sees them aligned with me in a maturity. So it's only been probably the recent year, I would say, where I've started to actually see and understand the impact that I personally have been having, and then the broader impact that Girl Shaped Flames has been having on lives. And I even had a beautiful moment at the end of last year. We had a huge year, not financially, but certainly with the stuff that we did. I think we ran about 60 events over the course of the year for something like 2,000 girls. And I put out an email right at the end of the year. It was like the wrap up of the year. We're so proud. We've done all these things. Yeah. And I got this email back from one of my grade 9 students, and she had come to quite a lot of the things in the life. And she wrote this beautiful long essay of an email saying how Girl Shaped Flames had really changed how she understood herself, and how she'd achieved all these different things, gotten onto different sporting teams and became a school captain and da-da-da-da-da. And she attributed so much of that to what she had experienced and learnt through Girl Shaped Flames. And it was getting that letter that's where it really started to sink in, going, wow, you are changing the trajectory of these girls' lives, which is powerful.
That is so powerful and incredible. And it goes to show that, sometimes if I just take it a little bit back to the business side, so many people start their businesses and they don't know what impact they have. So it just
Mm-hmm.
goes to show, if you keep going and just don't stop, keep going with your vision. And at the end of the
Yeah.
day, you look back and you can see what you have actually achieved and how
Yes.
you have changed other people's lives. So I really
Yeah.
think that is incredible. I remember when I was a teenage girl, I lacked confidence and it held me back for so long. I had to acquire
Mm.
it over time. Now, your courses and programs, they
Mm.
help your clients to achieve results much quicker, obviously. So
Mm.
you also have other
Mm.
courses. I noticed how you're tapping
Yeah.
into different needs in your niche with your different
Yeah.
packages. Can you tell us a little bit more about I see there's 3 courses and how
Mm-hmm.
they complement and support each other, because I think that is actually a very clever thing to do.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, we have 3 right now, and then I have one that we're launching hopefully at the end of August. We're trying to. So, I guess sort of the signature course is our Stronger Than You Know online course, which is for teenage girls, and that's a 7-module video self-paced course with worksheets that I put together off the basis of many, many addresses that I would be invited to give to schools and workshops that I would do in person with the girls. And that's really focused on getting them to understand themselves and understand their own sort of mindsets around their own limitations, and giving them some actual tools and strategies to build their confidence. And really by the end of that course, they're leaving feeling much more empowered about who they are and what they want and how deserving they are of it. Because I am these girls' biggest cheerleader, probably second only to their mum, but I'm the girls' biggest cheerleader, where a lot of the course is me kind of saying, you have to understand what you are capable of. You can't see it yet, but I promise you are capable of enormous things. So that's kind of our signature course, which has been born out of what I've done for the last few years in person. Oh, and then I have a connection kit, which is designed for the parents to utilize with their daughters. And that came about because while I would talk a lot about confidence to the girls, the conversations I was having with the parents were slightly different, where they would say, yes, I am worried about my daughter's confidence, but I also am losing my connection with her, and our communication is breaking down the older she gets, and she doesn't want to talk to me anymore, and I feel like I'm losing her, and what if she doesn't come to me when something's wrong? And I was like, oh yes, I hear you. This is what happens. It's natural. So I already had a resource available that I built a couple of years ago, which was a video library of about 120 little 2-minute videos with different women. So what I did was I repurposed that content into a 10-week program that the parents could undertake with their daughters, which takes them through 10 different topics to speak to their daughters about, which are really important life topics around things like balance and failure and motivation and having a plan B and stress and all those kinds of things. And it's designed to give the parents not only a structure to try to work through so that they can build those connections with their daughters again and that trust and everything, but it's also designed to get them getting to know each other better. Because what happens is when our communication breaks down, they grow and you don't know how they're growing. You're not sure what your daughter even thinks about failure, or does she have a plan B if her, whatever she chooses to go to university doesn't work out? And, does she even believe in balance? And these are not conversations you sit around at the dinner table after school talking about. These are deeper things. So by giving parents a bit of a structure to follow and some prompting questions and access to all of that video content to show their daughters different female role models talking about how they deal with motivation or stress and pressure and things like that, it just gives parents those tools to start making progress in that area. So I found that was really important, because without that bond and that communication, it's very hard for the parents to influence the daughter's confidence. So it's all kind of coming back to confidence. And the third one that we actually have live at the moment, which I just finished up developing recently in the last couple of weeks, is actually our focus, stress and pressure workshop, which in talking to you, I realize I now need to actually pop onto the website because it sits on a different website at the moment. But that came about, that workshop is one of my most popular ones last year. And it has been born out of my own personal experiences working across that advertising filmmaking space in managing stress and pressure and overwhelm and staying motivated. And that came about because last year I was, and talk about customer research, I did a brainstorm with a group of about 8 or 9 senior students. And I started the brainstorm because I wanted to research an app idea that I had. And I had this brilliant app idea. And I was like, this is genius. And I'm going to get the girls in a room and they're all going to tell me how genius it is. And I got them in a room and I was very, had a lot of self-control to start at the beginning instead of just jumping in going, I've got this app. I started at the beginning and I had my whiteboard and I was like, right, so we all know this. What's the biggest problem I could solve for you right now? And what proceeded to unfold was a 2-hour conversation about stress, pressure, and overwhelm. We didn't even talk about the app in the entire research session. It just became, we can't feel confident about ourselves or our directions or our decision making because we are drowning. We are so stressed and so overwhelmed and we don't know what to do and we're lacking motivation, and then we feel bad because we're letting ourselves down, our parents down, blah, blah, blah. I mean, the amount of stuff that came out of that research session was just unbelievable. And I went home and that weekend I wrote the focus workshop, which up until recently I was delivering live. And then when COVID happened, I decided, well, I have all the materials and I have all the worksheets. I'll just quickly film it. And we made it into a self-paced video course. And that one is incredibly impactful because it is really packed with actual tools and strategies and things and worksheets and stuff that are templated that the girls can use ongoing. And so we've had great kind of feedback and results from that one. So they've all come organically out of each other, but the one, and I'm very proud of all of them, and I do think that they all play a very important role within different girls' lives who need different things. But the one that's coming that I'm probably most proud of, or I'm excited by, I guess, is I'm working with a friend of mine who is a neuroscientist and an adolescent counselor, and we are developing Courageous Parenting 101. And that's because we can do everything we can with the girls. I can coach and mentor and give them experiences and events, but we know the hard yards are happening at home. And I have a Facebook group that within the first couple of weeks, we ended up with nearly 200 parents of teenage and younger girls saying, we want to know, how do we raise confident girls? How do we help them have self-belief and ambition and drive? And so there's a real, listening to, I don't like saying marketplace, but listening to the audience, they really were kind of like, you seem to know how to help our daughters be confident. Can you tell us how to help them be confident? So I was like, okay, I'll put down what I know. And Dr. Diane Harner brings her neuroscientist angle to things. And so she's putting down what she knows. And together we're developing what hopefully will be launched as a fairly in-depth, intensive, like a 6-week course where we will also be involved to help answer questions and guide and things like that throughout. So all of that online side of the business is kind of new off the back of COVID. We were really events based up until now, but if anything, it's been a bit of a silver lining that's come out of the situation because I just never had time. We were in the process of planning a 500-person summit to celebrate International Day of the Girl in October. And we'd almost booked the venue. I was about to put down a deposit and everything 2 weeks before COVID hit here in Australia. And so that's gone now, like that won't be happening. And we had to take all of our face-to-face workshops away and things like that. So, but it's been great to get it online because now I have people reaching out to me from all different countries in America and Africa and everything to see that these resources are now available.
I love that. And it is amazing to know that, people go online with their businesses where it hasn't been before. And it just shows that it is possible, because I think there are many people out there who think that, they can't do business anymore. They can just take it online. Most of the times it is possible. We have all the resources. And like you say, you can reach so many more people online. So at the end of the day, I think it is really, there is definitely a very big positive for business owners like yourself to do that. But I really love all the courses that you have, and it makes so much sense what you are doing, and it's amazing and so lovely to hear how it impacts these people, and how
Mm.
the different options complement each other. And
Yeah.
yes, it is amazing, and I think that it is something that every parent should look into, because especially teenagers, they've got
Mm.
an opinion and a mind of
Yeah.
their own at the on the other side as well, and you want to bring that everything together and help them
Mm.
and their parents to take them forward empowered. And yeah, I'm all about
Yeah.
that. I love that. And if I think, like I said, if I think about my own journey as a young woman,
Mm.
I remember how I felt. So
Yeah.
that is just awesome. I think if I had the resources like this, I would have definitely made such a difference to my
Yeah.
journey. As moms, I just want to talk a
Mm.
little bit about your business and the mom side as well. So we are often
Yep.
so busy and overwhelmed with everything that needs to be done. Would you say, that you have more time or enough time for your family and your work? Was your work an essential goal to achieve with your business?
Hmm. So I certainly had it in the back of my mind that if I was to start, remembering I didn't think it was a business to begin with, but to start this business that became a business, I certainly did have it in my mind that it would be fantastic to have that flexibility and the ability to work the hours that I wanted to work around when I wanted to be with the kids. And when I started Go Take Flames, Jessie, my oldest, was 2 and a bit, and my youngest was still in my tummy. And I gave birth the same week that the website went live, and we announced 16 events taking place at the big venue that's here in Brisbane. And in my head, it has taken a lot of very conscious work to figure out how to do it and how to balance it. I have had the flexibility. I have had the flexibility to do that, but I think what I imagine a lot of listeners will also relate to is that it's not always the best thing, because that flexibility usually means that you're then working from 8 o'clock at night until midnight, most nights, because that's the period of time you can get when they're quiet and asleep.
Yeah.
And so, so you kind of go, oh, so flexible. And then you're like, oh, not getting any sleep.
True story.
So, yeah. So I think that for me, it has been a really big challenge, a bigger challenge than I expected. I'm also a very efficient, capable person. I'm one of those annoying overachievers. So in my head, I was always like, I can do this. I can balance this. It's not going to be that hard. The other thing was, like, my second child was a very different child to my first. So my first, I was taking him when he was 4 months old. I was lecturing at one of the film schools in Sydney. And I would just take him to the lecture, and he would sit in his pram, play with his toy. And when it was feed time, I gave everyone a break. I'd feed him, and then they'd come back, and then I'd keep talking. And so I was just, it was so easy. My youngest was a very different story and a very different baby, and really, really needed mum all the time. And I certainly was a bit like, hang on a second, this is not what it said on the packet. So it's been a journey to figure out, like, how does that even work? And I think it's an ongoing journey. Like, I don't know that we ever crack the code, because the thing is, they are evolving as little people, and a 1-year-old has so many different needs to, my youngest is turning 3 next month, and he has different needs now. But you can get away with other little things as they get older. So, I mean, I don't condone a lot of screen time, but you can bung them in front of the TV for half an hour if you need to smash out a couple of pretty important emails, or they can understand when mummy explains that she just needs to do some work. She'll be back, soon, and things like that. That doesn't stop them from, especially my youngest, being like, no, mummy, no work, and running into my office. And I'm like, I know, buddy, I know you want to play. But look, I've balanced it as best I can. And I think that the biggest, I guess, the couple of saving graces for me, or the things that I turn to in order to do that, are trying to get on top of planning ahead my time management for my actual business tasks that need to get done. Like, I used to just have you know, these are the 3 days that I work and these are the hours that I have to work and everything else I have to do in the evenings. And I'd sit down with my massive to-do list and be like, I haven't got anything done. Now I've taken my own advice out of my own focus course where I time out every task and I block it into my calendar by task basis. And I'm like, this is an hour, this is half an hour, this isn't 2 hours. And I can see ahead of time how much I'm going to get done. And I've started really making peace with the fact that I'm just never going to get done as much as I thought I would because I have children and that's just how it works. So I think making peace with that. I think also I've started sort of saying no a little bit more now on things that aren't necessary, both on a personal and business level. I've started kind of going, you know, do you need to do that or can it be space for something else? And then the final thing, which I was reflecting on, is that it's taken me a long time to do it, but I think I've gotten much better at it, which is accepting that this is how life is and stop really trying to imagine that you're just not achieving some other imaginary life that's supposed to exist. And I did that for the first couple of years with Toby when I was running Girl Shaped Flames. I would just be like, this is what the life is supposed to be like, and I'm not living that life, and I'm failing in all of these ways is how I'm not living that life. And it just becomes this weight that you're waking up with every morning, you're going to bed with every night, and it's too heavy to carry when you're also carrying the weight of trying to bring an income in for your family and trying to be a good parent. And really it's a weight that you can't carry for a long time. So I've had to, over time, give myself permission to put that weight aside and go, you know what? This is what your life looks like. And as long as the boys know you love them, you give them joy and joyous moments, you're consistent with your behavior towards them. So I think it's been really important for me to stay consistent with my discipline or with my games playing or with our activities, to give them that consistency, even though in amongst that consistency is mummy working. That's part of our life. But I think by recognizing that this is just our life and I can't hold myself to some standard that's not possible while trying to do the things we're trying to do. So those few things have been what I keep calling upon in order to keep moving forward while we're holding this, you know, responsibility on so many fronts.
Yes, such good advice. At the end of the day, it is each person has their own journey and you just have to make it work for what works for you and your family, and that's the only right way. If something is stressing you out, then you know we have to change our mindset around it. And I love how you have been able to do that and have recognized that, because as moms we tend to become so stressed and we think that we are failing and not doing it right, whereas if we just change our mindset a little bit and realize we can go with it and we can make it where our kids still know that we care about them. Like you say, if we stay consistent. And I love actually how you mentioned the time blocking as well. I realize that is a very common thing that moms in business say that they find very successful. Everyone I speak to do that and they find that very helpful in their businesses. So that is something that, you know, every business owner should actually do. And I found myself as well, it works really well to obviously with a little bit of flexibility, but
yes,
you want to know more or less that specific time blocks, what you plan on doing when, and that also gives the kids a little bit of, you know, security, and so that they know what is going to happen more or less. That okay, now I'm going to work for a little while for, you know, an hour or whatever the case may be, and then I'm going to spend time with you, and they know what is coming. So that also helps a lot. Tanya, how automated is your business in terms of outsourcing and systems? I know you said that you took your business online now, but do you have a team and help that supports you in your business?
So I have bits and pieces. We had just ramped up and hired 3 more hires in January, February, and then but all of them were on the basis of live event-based stuff happening. And then when COVID hit, that has all gone away now. But over the course of the last 3 years, I have often not been shy of sourcing or outsourcing the couple of things that I know either I'm not as good as that other person would be at it, or I know that they drain too much energy out of me. Like, oh, I can do that thing, but I'm going to be pretty drained after I do it. So it'd be much easier if I pay someone $30 an hour to just go and do it for me. So from early on, I kind of had that mindset. So I've had a VA on and off over the last, probably more recently, just over the last year or so, where I started really outsourcing like legal documentation prep and things like that, where I was like, oh, I know I'm capable of doing that, but I just have no interest in doing that. So if you go social media, I have really outsourced. I've outsourced that for almost the entire time because even though communication is my background, I don't get any joy out of writing social media posts, and there are people out there that are just better at it, and young people. So I've always had the people who've done my social media have generally been under the age of 25. And right now I actually have a grade 12 student who has done Girl Shape Flame stuff for a couple of years now. And she does all my social media posts, and I guide her and I tell her strategy wise what it is we need to cover. But she writes them and finds images and says, and it's fantastic because it's in their voice then, isn't it? It's in a young person's voice, and she knows what's passionate. And she does special guest Tuesday posts where it is her voice. It's like guest posts by Shah Gracie. Ooh. And those posts are like my most popular. Those are the ones that, people are just going, oh, this is so insightful. It's amazing. I'm like, excellent, outsource that. So that's great. And then I have an event coordinator who I brought on for like a 10 to 16 hour a week arrangement, November of last year, when we still had a big body of event work. She has stayed on during COVID to help me in other ways. We will have the return of some events later this year. So I certainly still utilize her help for that. And she really helps in the logistics and the liaison with our different corporate partners and things like that. So that was stuff, again, I can do all of it. I was doing all of it before I got her, but it just frees me up to really start, developing all the other content and doing the courses and chasing stuff down. I also have a digital marketing manager who I had hired prior to COVID and now have lost to another job because I wasn't able to keep her on. But she helps me on the side a little bit with landing page layouts and things like that. From an automation standpoint, I use ActiveCampaign as my CRM, and I have automated, probably don't automate as much as I should at the moment because we're in transition, but certainly I have a couple of funnels set up with some opt-ins that go into a funnel that lead to a couple of the courses. And I have, like newsletter welcomes and things like that set up from that standpoint. So yeah. And then I have an accountant. I have a lawyer I never use, but I have an accountant who does my stuff. Yeah. I have a contact who's a lawyer. So they're probably the main ways I outsource. It ebbs and flows depending on what the business is doing a little bit. When we are in a heavy events space, when we have lots of events going on, we have an automated event booking system where once they book and pay online, they get their automated confirmation email. And then a week before the event, they get their automated reminder and So we have all that kind of set up. But I'm certainly moving more into that space. And I've actually got I don't know if we're going to go into this, but as far as investment in my own growth, I have I'm starting to work with a digital marketing expert to give me some more guidance around how to best get the word out about the courses, that they exist and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. I love it. And I like what you say, that everything doesn't have to be set in stone. You can have a little bit of flexibility. You can use people when you need them and then change a little bit, and also what you said about you did some of the stuff and you don't really have the time or you don't enjoy it, and then you get someone else to do it, but at least you know how it works within your own business. You can't just get someone and you have no clue what to do, except if it comes to accounting, maybe. That's something I don't like.
Accounting and lawyers,
that's
they're in charge. It's important. I think it is important because you have to not only be able to step in if something goes wrong, but you have to really know how to work any of those areas as hard as they can. And talking about dipping in and out, like my VA, I got her on a consistent sort of 5 hours a week or something rather to begin with. And I had this massive list of stuff. It was like cleaning up my online filing, digital filing system, and refreshing some T's and C's I had. And it was just all this kind of stuff. Oh, we had to put together a huge child safety paperwork protocols and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I just don't want to do that. So I offloaded it all to her. Then the work kind of dried up a little bit. And I was like, look, I don't need anything for the next couple of weeks that I can see, but as and when they pop up, I'll let you know. And sure enough, a couple of weeks later, I had this huge mailing list of all of these different schools contacts that we, educators and things that we contact. And it was grunt work. It was like, I want to get connected with all these people on LinkedIn. So could you please reach out to all these people on my LinkedIn account, see if we can connect with them. And it's just these little spurts of podcasts. Like I got her to transcribe some of our podcast episodes and things like that, where I was really scared for a long time about taking on VA or event coordinators and things, because I was worried about being trapped and locked in and then having to pay them before even paying myself, and that I was going to just watch all my money go down the drain and have no control over it. And it took me a little while to get past that. And then once I did, I was like, oh no, I can utilize these resources like just when I need them or when I have money, and that's way better. And so, yeah, that's how I kind of did it.
I agree with you. I totally agree. I would like to end with a lesson that you teach, in one of your videos I saw on your website, which is extremely important, I think, for anyone who wants to drive themselves to their full potential or towards whatever achievement they aspire to. And that is, if you don't ask, the answer is no. So do you agree that this also spills over to if you don't try? The answer is no, especially with people who want to start a business and moms who need to balance it all. You've covered so much in your interview, so I would like to know your opinion on this.
Well, I mean, when you feed me my life motto, it's easy to riff off that. Yeah. So my life motto is certainly, if you don't ask, the answer is no, which actually harks back to when my final year of high school, I was trying to decide. There was this university I really wanted to go to, and I'd found sort of course and study there, and they were coming through our regional town doing interviews for scholarships. And I was from a single parent household. It was an expensive university. I'd never be able to go without a scholarship. And I was speaking to my physics teacher, who was giving me some tutoring because physics was not my strong point at high school. And I was giving him all these excuses around, even though I was pretty much a straight A student, I was like, oh, there's going to be lots of other smarter people that will get it. And all the metro girls, because I grew up in a really small town, they'll all be smarter than me. And there's probably more deserving people. And I was just like laying out all of these excuses. And he just turned around and said, do you want to go to the uni? And I was like, yes. He said, so if you don't ask, the answer will be no. And I was like, you have a good point. And so I had the interview for the scholarship, put in the application, got the scholarship, went to the university. So ding, ding, it was a win. But it's so interesting you mentioned that, because I actually have a sticky note like directly in front of me on the wall that I wrote about 2 months ago when COVID set in, and I was feeling a real sense of, I should probably take things online, but I don't know if they're going to work. And what if people aren't receptive to it? And what if it's not as strong as it was in the live versions? And who wants to look at my face for 10 hours of content? And I was like, it just won't work. Like, it won't work. There's all these reasons why it's not going to work. And I wrote on a Post-it note, and late one night, and it literally says, don't decide you've failed before you've even tried. And I look at that every day now, and I'm like, right, Tanya, you need to try first. You need to put everything you've got into it, and not just for a week, for like 6 months. And if you get to the end of that and it really hasn't worked, then you can have your little sad party and go, poor me, it didn't work.
And usually it works.
But don't decide that you failed, before you've even tried.
Exactly. We've got to be our own biggest cheerleaders, like you say.
Yes. Yeah.
It's all in the mind. And I think if we just have the right skills or someone who teaches to us, we can all acquire that. And this is specifically for the young women out there that you teach these wonderful skills of empowerment and confidence too, but this can be applied in anyone's unique situations, like businesses, or it's just such a great reminder for us all. So thank you so much for that. Tanya, how can moms and young ladies who would like to learn how they get to really know themselves and become empowered and confident, get hold of you?
So best place to take a look around is our website, girlshapedflames.com. You can contact us through the contact us page there. They all come into my email inbox anyway, so I always see it. But the other place to come if you are a parent of a young girl, and of any aged young girl under the age of 18, is we do have an online Facebook group called Raising Girl-Shaped Flames that I manage. And in that, we have about 200 parents at the moment now. And in that, we're just sort of using strategies and tools to help parents raise confident girls. That's a really good place to come. And I share all of our resources into that group and stuff like that. So yeah, check out the website, and then Instagram. Oh, well, Facebook, we're just on Facebook and Instagram under Girl-Shaped Flames. You can find us anywhere, really.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, my little girl, she's only 5, but I think this is really so good for any mom with a girl, because they all go through different stages. If they reach that stage and you have the resources, you're going to be empowered to, help them through that, and you as the parent as well. So I am really all for what you do. I really love what you do. I thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure to talk to you and listening to all your insights. You have covered so much, and I think it's going to help a lot of people who get to listen to this. It is inspirational to talk to someone like you who does something as amazing and actually very selfless, because you're really giving your powerful insights over to these young women, and they are going to make such a big difference in the world, and that is very encouraging to know and to be a part of. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Mom entrepreneurs need to work smart and structure their business effectively more than anyone, due to business and life with kids often overlapping. A business that is well structured enables moms to focus and progress better. All the complex parts within the business are properly clarified and systemized. When all parts work according to a plan that brings results, it eliminates the overwhelm, and it makes projects and processes within the business easily manageable. It means growing your online business faster, more effectively, and leaving you with more time for the things that matter to you. Isn't that what moms need most? Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Thank you for watching. Until next time.